may be physical equilibrium or chemical equilibrium also. So let us see what is meant by equilibrium. Equilibrium. Last day, we had just mentioned about reversible changes. There are certain changes, maybe physical or chemical, which will be taking place in the forward and the backward directions simultaneously. For example, you take, say, a reactant R that is converted to the product P. At the same time, the product is giving the reactant R back. That means there are two opposing changes. A change from left to right, that is called the forward change, forward change. Then the change from right to left, that is called the backward change, or it is also known as the reverse change. The reverse change or the backward change. And a change in which both forward and reverse change take place simultaneously. That's called a reversible change. That is called a reversible change. I call it as only a reversible change because the change may be a physical change or a chemical change. Now, you take the forward change, maybe a forward reaction, for example, chemical reaction. For the forward change, there will be a rate for the forward change, rate. Similarly, you take the backward change or the reverse change. For that also, there will be a rate of the reaction. Now, there will be a state at which the rates of the forward and backward changes become equal. That position, that point is called equilibrium. So equilibrium means the point at which the rate of forward and backward changes, rate of forward change, forward reaction is equal to rate of the reverse reaction or the backward reaction. The two rates are equal. And such a state is called an equilibrium. If it is a physical change, it is called a physical equilibrium. If it is a chemical change, it is called a chemical equilibrium. Let us say a reversible change again. What's a reversible change? A reversible change is one in which the forward and backward changes occur simultaneously. Forward means from, say, left to right. That change is called the forward change. The change from right to left, that is called the backward change or the reverse change. When the forward and the backward changes occur simultaneously, it is called a reversible change. If it is a chemical reaction, then it is called a reversible chemical reaction. So in a reversible chemical reaction, the products give the reactants back. Definitely there is the conversion of the reactants into the products. The forward change is there. Forward reaction means the conversion of the reactant into the product. That is the forward reaction. At the same time, the product gives the reactant back. Then it is called the backward reaction or the reverse reaction. So when these two reactions occur simultaneously, then it is called a reversible chemical change. Reversible chemical change. So in a reversible chemical change, the products will give you the reactants back. The products will give you the reactants back. That means the conversion of the reactant into the product, that is not the only reaction. That is not the only change. There is an opposing change also. Now you consider the forward and backward reactions or forward and backward changes. For each change, there will be a rate, and there is a situation. There is a point at which the rate of the forward change becomes equal to the rate of the backward change. The rate of the forward reaction is equal to the rate of the backward reaction or the reverse reaction. Then it is called chemical equilibrium. It is called the equilibrium. So at equilibrium, the rates of the forward and the backward changes become equal. See, the reaction goes on, it continues. The reaction is going on, but the rates are equal. Since the rates are equal, the concentrations of the reactants and the products remain unchanged. So at equilibrium, at equilibrium, the equilibrium, the concentrations of the reactants as well as the products remain unchanged. There is no change in the concentrations of the reactants and products. And the reaction seems to be stopped. I say the reaction seems to be stopped only. The reaction is not stopped. It is going on. But only the rates are equal. And the concentrations remain unchanged. The concentrations remain the same at equilibrium. And so the reaction seems to be stopped. And so we say the chemical equilibrium is a dynamic equilibrium. It is a dynamic. It is going on. It's a dynamic equilibrium. Chemical equilibrium is a dynamic equilibrium. It is not static. It is not static. It is going on. So equilibrium is a dynamic equilibrium. So the points you have to remember are this. One, what is a reversible change? A reversible change means a change in which there is forward and backward changes simultaneously. That is, the change from left to right, forward, and the change from right to left, that is backward. Now, when the rates of the forward and backward changes become equal, the condition is called equilibrium. That's called equilibrium. So at equilibrium, the rates of the forward and backward changes become equal. But the reaction is not stopped, it is going on. Since the rates are equal, the concentrations of the reactants and the products remain unchanged. There is no change in the concentrations, and the reaction seems to be stopped, and such a condition is called the chemical equilibrium. If it's a chemical reaction, chemical equilibrium. If it is a physical change, it is called the physical equilibrium. Let us take some physical equilibria to explain the equilibrium changes. For example, you take a solid, for example, ice. Solid ice is taken in a thermos flask, close the thermos flask. Then solid ice slowly melts and there is formation of liquid water. There is formation of liquid water, liquid. So a solid is slowly converted into the liquid. If the solid is kept in a closed vessel, there are two changes. One is melting of solid, giving the liquid. At the same time, there is solidification of the liquid, giving the solid back. And if the two changes occur at the same rate, then it is a solid liquid equilibrium, and that is a physical equilibrium. Similarly, you take a liquid. A liquid is taken in a closed vessel. It is slowly converted into the gaseous state or the vapor state. The gaseous state or the vapor state. It is kept in a closed vessel. Then what happens? When the liquid is converted into the vapor state or gaseous state, there is an opposing change. That is, the vapor is slowly condensed, giving the liquid back. See, the system is a closed one, remember. It's closed one. It's not open. It is closed. Then, such a condition is called a liquid gas equilibrium or a liquid vapor equilibrium. There are solid gas equilibrium also. Solid gas equilibrium also we can see. That is during sublimation. We can see it later. Okay. Now you come to the solid liquid equilibrium and the solid vapor equilibrium. You take these two. Solid liquid equilibrium. Now, when a solid is melted, we say the melting occurs at a certain temperature. And that temperature is called the melting point of the solid. Melting point of the solid. You think of the liquid. If the liquid is cooled, it is slowly converted into the solid. And it is the freezing of the liquid. Both these changes occur at the same temperature. At the same temperature, both the changes occur. And the temperature at which, say, the temperature at which the solid is in equilibrium with a liquid, that is called the melting point of the solid, or it is the freezing point of the liquid. Both are the same. We say the melting point of water is equal to 0 degrees Celsius. That means melting point of water, we say melting point of ice. Ice melts at 0 degrees Celsius. We say the freezing point of water. Say water freezes at the same temperature, 0 degrees Celsius. The only change is this. If the change is the solid is converted into liquid, then it is called the melting point. When the liquid is converted into the solid, then it is called the freezing point. So at the melting point or freezing point, that's the temperature at which the solid is in equilibrium. It's a liquid, solid liquid equilibrium at a given pressure. So what is meant by melting point? What is meant by freezing point? So melting point or freezing point is the temperature at which a solid is in equilibrium with its liquid at a given pressure. At a given pressure. Pressure is kept constant. Okay. Similarly, you take a liquid vapor equilibrium. Same. Liquid vapor equilibrium. Say the reversible changes are shown by the reversible changes are shown by double-headed arrows. Only half arrows are used. Half arrows. So that shows a reversible change. Reversible change. There are arrows from left to right and from right to left. Only half arrows are used. So consider an equilibrium between a liquid and a vapor or a liquid and a gas, and the temperature at which the liquid is in equilibrium with its vapor at a given atmospheric pressure, then it is called the boiling point. The boiling point. Okay. So this is called the boiling point. So at the boiling point of a liquid, the liquid is in equilibrium with its vapor, and that temperature is the boiling point. We can define boiling point in another way also. If there is vapor, the vapor will be exerting a pressure. There will be a pressure due to the vapor of the liquid. A pressure is experienced, or the vapor exerts a pressure, and the pressure exerted by a vapor is called vapor pressure. That is called the vapor pressure. Vapor pressure. Pressure due to the vapor seen above the surface of a liquid. That's called vapor pressure. Vapor pressure. And say the boiling point is the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure. So we can define boiling point this way also. So boiling point is the temperature, that is the temperature at which vapor pressure of the liquid becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure. That is equal to the atmospheric pressure. We say boiling point of water is equal to 100 degrees Celsius or 373.15 Kelvin. What is the meaning of this? Say the meaning is only this one. That is liquid water vapor equilibrium at that particular temperature, and the boiling point means that is the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure. So vapor pressure is not a constant. We cannot say vapor pressure is a constant. Vapor pressure depends upon the external pressure, the atmospheric pressure. When we say the boiling point, so when we say the boiling point cannot be considered as a constant. Generally, we say boiling point of water is equal to 100 degrees Celsius. It is not the same value. That means water will not boil at 100 degrees Celsius in the whole universe. Wherever you go, no, it is not like that. It is not a constant value that depends on the external pressure. It depends on the atmospheric pressure. When we say boiling point of water is equal to 100 degrees Celsius or a 373 Kelvin, it is boiling, water is boiling when the atmospheric pressure is equal to 1 bar or 1 atmosphere. The unit of atmospheric pressure is equal to 1 atmosphere pressure. We have seen the units for pressure, atmosphere unit or say bar unit. We have seen all this. If the external pressure, the atmospheric pressure is equal to 1 atmosphere. 1 atmosphere. Then water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, 373 Kelvin. Okay. If the atmospheric pressure decreases, suppose atmospheric pressure decreases, then the boiling point also decreases. You go to Himalayas, Mount Everest, you go. There the atmospheric pressure is only 0.5 atmosphere. 0.5 atmosphere, that is the pressure. Here we have the atmosphere pressure is equal to 1 atmosphere, 76 millimeters, centimeters of mercury, or 760 millimeters of mercury. That is 1 atmosphere pressure. You go to Everest, there the pressure is only 0.5 atmosphere. 0.5 atmosphere. Then what happens then? Their water boils at 50 degrees Celsius. 50 degrees Celsius, water is boiling there. So we cannot take boiling point as a constant. Whenever we say about the boiling point or even the melting point, we have to mention the pressure also. We have to mention the pressure. So boiling point, it depends on the atmospheric pressure. So let us redefine boiling point. Redefine boiling point. Boiling point is the temperature at which vapor pressure of the liquid becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure. You should not simply say it is the temperature at which a liquid boils. That is also a definition. That is also an answer. But that is not the better answer. Better answer is this: the temperature at which vapor pressure of the liquid becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure. And that temperature is called the boiling point. Okay. I mentioned about the solid gas equilibrium. Solid gas equilibrium. A solid is directly converted. Usually we say solid is converted to liquid and the liquid is converted to gas or vapor. There is a slight difference between gas and vapor. But for the time being, let us take gas and vapor in the same sense. Let us take gas and vapor in the same sense. There is a slight difference in the definition of gas and vapor. Okay, so solid is first converted into liquid, melting point. Then the liquid is converted into the gas or vapor, that is the boiling point. But instead of that, say the solid is directly converted into the vapor state or the gaseous state. Then it is called sublimation. It is called a sublimation. So sublimation is the direct conversion of a solid into the vapor state or the gaseous state. That's called a sublimation. Sublimation. So during sublimation, there will be solid gas equilibrium. Solid gas equilibrium. For example, you take iodine crystals, solid iodine crystals. If a solid iodine is kept in a closed vessel, iodine is slowly converted into iodine vapor, say iodine gas, iodine vapor. Direct conversion of solid into the gaseous state. See, that is sublimation. So iodine is a sublimable substance. Similarly, there are a large number of compounds like say ammonium chloride or naphthalene balls. All these are camphor. All these are sublimable substances. Say camphor. What is camphor? Camphor, Karpuram. You go to the temple, there you get the smell of a camphor, Karpuram. Why? Say Camphor is a white solid, and it vaporizes, directly vaporizes. So in the temple, there will be full of the vapor of a camphor. That is why you will get the peculiar sweet smell of a camphor. Camphor. So it is directly converted into the solid. So the solid is directly converted into the gaseous state, camphor. Similarly, ammonium chloride, that also vaporizes directly. Then naphthalene, another typical example, naphthalene. Naphthalene. You know, naphthalene, the mothballs Sparta guliga that is used, the white solid used, naphthalene balls. When naphthalene balls are kept, say, in our, say, almirah, and you just open it, you will get the smell of naphthalene. There is smell of a naphthalene. Now you check what happens to the naphthalene solid ball, naphthalene balls, what happens? You can see that the size of the naphthalene balls will be getting reduced and reduced. And finally what happens? There is no naphthalene ball at all. What happens? Naphthalene is converted into the vapor state, sublimation. So solid is directly converted into, that's called a sublimation. Okay. Now let us come to the chemical equilibrium. We are more interested in chemical equilibrium. So in a chemical equilibrium, first of all, there will be a reversible chemical reaction. Equilibrium is only for a reversible change. See, the word equilibrium is used only for a reversible change. If the change is irreversible, that means the reactant is converted into the products. The products are not giving the reactants back. Suppose, then it is not, it is not an equilibrium. There is no equilibrium. So whenever we speak about equilibrium, the change should be reversible. You come to chemical equilibrium. So in a chemical equilibrium, there will be a reversible chemical reaction. That means there will be forward reaction as well as the backward reaction. Suppose the reactant R is converted to the product P, then the product is giving the reactants back. There will be the forward and backward reactions. Say this is our forward reaction. And there is the backward or the reverse reaction. Backward reaction or the reverse reaction. And forward reaction will be having its own rate, its own speed. Backward reaction is also, the reverse reaction is also having its own rate, its own speed. And at a certain point, the rates of the forward and the backward reactions will become equal, and that point is called a chemical equilibrium. So at a chemical equilibrium, the rates of the forward and backward reactions. Now I say reaction. Up to this time, I used only the change, maybe physical or chemical. Now we are coming to the chemical change, chemical reaction. So there will be forward and backward, or forward and reverse chemical reactions taking place simultaneously. That is a reversible chemical reaction. And at equilibrium, the rates of both reactions will be equal. You know, rate depends. Rate depends on the concentration. The rate of a reaction is proportional to concentration. It depends on concentration. Concentration. At the beginning stage, the concentration of the reactants will be the maximum. And therefore, the rate of the forward reaction will be the maximum. You come to this point, the rate is directly proportional to the concentration. Concentration. Now you apply this rule to the chemical equilibrium. You apply this to the chemical equilibrium. You take the forward reaction first. Forward reaction. Forward reaction is this one. That is the reactant giving the product. That is the forward reaction. This is forward reaction. And the rate of this reaction, rate of the forward reaction, directly proportional to concentration of the reactant R. Square bracket R, that is read as concentration. Call it as a concentration. Concentration of R. Concentration of R. Usually in physical chemistry, we can express the concentration using square bracket. If something is written within the square bracket, you must read it as concentration. So rate of the forward reaction, that is proportional to concentration of the reactant R. Reactant R. At the beginning, there is only the reactant. So the concentration of the reactant will be the maximum. And the rate also, rate of the forward reaction also will be the maximum. But when time goes on, say the reactant is slowly converted into the product. And therefore, the concentration of the reactant gets reduced. Concentration of the reactant is decreased. And therefore, the rate of the forward reaction is also decreased slowly. Now you come to the backward reaction. That is P giving the reactant back. And this is the backward reaction or the reverse reaction. The reverse reaction. And the rate of the reverse reaction, that is proportional to what? You say, right? Backward reaction. The reverse reaction. Rate depends on what? Concentration of a P or R.
P.
Reverse reaction. In the backward reaction,
P.
the reverse reaction, the reactant is P. Is it not? The reactant is P in the backward reaction. So the rate of the backward reaction is proportional to concentration of P. At the beginning stage, there is no P at all. So concentration of P is equal to 0. And the rate is also 0. But when the reaction progresses, the concentration of P slowly increases. Concentration of P slowly increases. And therefore, the rate of the backward reaction, rate of the reverse reaction slowly increases. Rate of forward reaction slowly decreases, while rate of reverse reaction slowly increases. And finally, at a certain point, both these rates will become equal. Both these rates will become equal. And that condition is called a chemical equilibrium. Chemical equilibrium. Okay, more details we can see in the coming class. Now let me stop.